if this were the penultimate paradigm? The place where all the placebos take you to the last refugia. I wonder about that. Yesterday I had an interview about my radio station on WZBC 90.3 FM. It's Wednesday, 6 a.m. to 9:30, just about now in the summer, when all the kiddos are gone. It's fun. It's fun to do. And the interviewer asked me what exactly I was trying to do. And I had to think about what I'm doing here, now, today. Taking a deep breath. Trying to share what it's like to be at the Okie Doikate place. Doikate, as I've explained at other times in other places, but will again now. Doikate was a movement of young Jewish people in Europe in 1940, 41, 42, that kind of time. People who saw what was happening as their world got narrower and narrower, and they were in the ghetto like Gaia is getting now, 92 degrees out. But they saw what was happening and what they determined, and Doikate means here, now. What they determined was that the Germans could and probably would take their lives, and not in the real distant future, but here now. Here now they had a choice about how to live, about what they could do, about taking a deep breath and doing what they could do, so that while the Germans might, the Nazis might, the Ashkenazis, if you was a Palestinian in Gaza, the Ashkenazis might take your life away, might drop bombs on you, might push you into a Warsaw ghetto that you couldn't fight your way out of. All that might happen and would and did, as you will have known. But here now, it was possible to slow it down, to get the gist of it, to take a deep breath, and then chant Om with your fellows, with your 36, your Lamed Vavniks, them of you who wanted to be a model for what it was going to be like to die well, however hard the circumstances. We too were faced with such a prospect. I told my interviewer yesterday, I told him that I thought that by 2112 our species would be extinct, and that peak population, I was guessing, still am, but I think by 2040 we'll hit 9.9 billion people. And then we'll have the great tithing, the great decimation that the great democracy's dictators are forcing upon us right now. And maybe it'll even start with a black swan like Indian Point, where they're putting the fracking pipes, and I couldn't believe this when I heard it. They're putting the fracking pipes 100 feet from Indian Point nuclear reactor with all its overpacked, too tightly packed spent fuel pools. And the $85 trillion of real estate that had been messed up if there was a Fukushima type accident at Indian Point. On those same GE Mark I, nothing could go wrong, because we've thought of everything, and these are the most tested nuclear reactors in history, and FERC and NRC have signed off. And you know, they got our best interests at heart. They got our backs in that Citizen United, Hobby Lobby corporate kind of way, that corporate people have your 40%, 47% Romneyistic Cayman Islands bank accounted back. In '08, we had a bankers' jubilee. They all got bailed out from their bad investments because we live in a derivative democracy when any Citizen United can get AIG to insure their derivatives. You take a deep breath, you channel the rage, you channel Ramdas, because it's almost Woodstock 50. And I remember looking out over that crowd in Woodstock, right up there in the front, while the band sang The Weight. I pulled into Nazareth. It was an inspiring moment, and I looked out over that crowd of 1 million people, a whole city, said to myself, maybe this is the way it's going to be in 50 years. If all this window pane and clear light, if all of it gets around and shifts people's consciousness so they see things they're not seeing now. Truth is, we're still not seeing it very much. And then with license to license ain't done well by us. I take a deep breath, because I know I'm no better than DC-1, that's Dick Cheney the First, or GB-2, Bush League. We're all kind of Bush League. We all make mistakes, lest we could slow down, get into our own micro groove, our own microbiome, feel the homeostasis and the peristalsis, and uncomplicated and unconstipated go along our way, because we regular and regulated and taking a deep breath. And I noticed that Om kind of clears my head. Does it yours? I'm hoping there's some perfect audience out there who's hearing it and getting it, get it, that us 36, we got your back. And we get it. And it's heavy lifting. And you may be shoplifting from Starbucks or Whole Foods or some place like that. But that in and of itself won't get you going to hell. Those hell realms is satisfied, those seventh Dante infernos. They're for the corporate people. The C-suiters, and they got corner offices. And Woodstock, Whatever happened to Woodstock 50 years ago, before the prisms of Snowden? And yesterday I was reading in the New York Times that on the high seas they still have the stowaways walk the plank. And law, white justice on the high seas, is almost non-existent, almost doesn't exist. So we take a deep breath and feel for all them stowaways who are trying to get to someplace else. Because we 36, we get it. We be here now. And it's okay. It's okie dokie. It's delicious. We realizing that this here now, this awareness, Dayenu, it's enough. It's enough to take us into practice of intentionality and intuition. The practice of taking a deep breath. And catching your breath, because you got to catch your breath. And to do that, you got to go half speed. Keep going half speed. 36 times is what I try, bird by bird, every day. Today I didn't make it. I got to 20, the great I thing, tithing, doubled down. But after that I couldn't do no more. So I just waited for this time and wondered, what stories do we tell about why we're doing what we're doing, and especially if what we're doing brings us to some kind of realization that maybe in 100 years or less, extinction 2112, with 2020 hypo hindsight, will have been easy to have seen. We're already crossing the Republican Rubicon. And it's a tipping point. We're at the hairpin turn in the Holocene, and if we don't turn it around, that 12,000-year period called the Holocene will have anthropocided it. It's really anthropocidal. And us eukaryotic semi-sapiens, how could we do this? Sometimes I imagine us 36, me in particular, I hate us for what we're doing to the place we live in. We're messing our own nesting places, and we're sheltering in place and placebos and anodyne, anorexic, autistic authorizations and risk assessments of the COINTELPRO Koch brothers and the Zionish der Schwitz, all them people making case for Israelity, and for all the killing on the Mavi Marmara, and for the Gaza massacre, and for all them bombs that still be dropping. You take a deep breath, and if you're like me, you feel bad. Dayenu. It's part of the heavy lifting. the sweet with the sour, and it's all salty, umami in the end. We never go where we can't go. We slow it down to half speed. We take a deep breath. And suddenly, sometimes, if you're lucky, you realize, I'm grateful. I got myself some I re, TPP, that's Tantric Practice Partnership. And the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Schwarze, please. Habibi, beschert. It's a fast and furious falasha, I got me. But then, you don't know, you never know. So, now you got to be here, now. And channel Ram Dass as best you can, till you too stroke out my pressure. Things go your way some days, and some days they don't. Some days one foot just seems to follow another, and some other days you disappoint yourself. If you step up, you can get through the day. And that's really the main thing, getting through today with 2020 hypo hindsight. It's a hypnagogic state, or perhaps a hypnopompic paradigm of patriotism and patriarchy, a Prost, Parava patriotism. And you wonder what they say, what the Trump-tastic quote of the day is. He said, McCain ain't no war hero. And I heard today the Apache people, they're disappointed in Mav McCain because he's supporting Rio Tinto mining the holy places for profit. I reviscerate the rage sometimes. Sometimes I contain the enragements and tongue lin the bad feeling. And some days it goes better than others. Today is a half-life. It's half empty, or maybe it's half full. I don't know. I'm slowing it down, seeing if I can catch up with myself. Maybe I can and maybe not. But I try. You got to give it your best shot, like LeBron in Game 3 against Atlanta, missing his first 11 shots. Shooting on anyhow. He done good, LeBron. But not good enough to beat Del Curry's kid. And now they're talking about derivatives and Deflategate democracy again. Because the Brady Bunch, the time's coming up to when the Brady Bunch and all those game suspension conversations, we're going to have another Goodell Gate. Gut, gemütlich. If you do what you can above and beyond the call of duty and booty, if you give it your best shot, at the end, You be like my brother, not like my brother, whoa, my brother by the same mother, but like my mother, who died at 90 a couple of years ago, and she died good, in hospice. Although not exactly the Buddhist Alzheimer's artist's hospice for the homeless. No sirree, Bob. My mother had a home, and I was there with her when she died. She died well. She left some good vibes. You grieve and you wonder about your own legacy sometimes. Extinction 2112, the time capsule, the Ozymandian omniscience that seems to surround the sadistic Semitism that they spew out in your name in the Holy Land. The Jerusalem syndrome, the coke capgrass macaca work. It's a mainstream media kind of thing. But us 36, we're taking a deep breath, hoping for perfect audience, people who get it and got your back, and realize that I read TPP, Habibi, Beshert. It's about both people getting more than they have to give. There's a kind of synergy that makes that possible. The getting and the giving when the going's good from the get-go. Going all the way live. Up in here, it's up close and personal. And maybe we ain't the prettiest, and maybe this isn't the most patriarchal of paradigms. And maybe we feminazis in a Limburger oxid ocean, but we vasoprescient. We see what's coming, and we grieve as we dig our own grave. And it's pretty grave. It's an emergency. At the center of gravity, the singularity won't pull us through. We take the time to become who we are. You eat what you kill, they say. Is it Woodstock or Indian Point? You get to choose your reimaginings, your counterfactual futures. And us 36, we understand that somewhere in the quantum multiverse, the electric universe, the electric multiverse, in the quark gluon plasma, there's a Bose-Einstein condensate that everything superconducts in. And there's a certain second string supersymmetry with its quantum queequeg moments where we throw in the bones and runes, reading the turkey gizzards and the tea leaves. And it's all good, like Nisargadatta say. It's all good, it's all exactly the way it's supposed to be, at some epispheric level of the Holocene. And the post-Holocide, in the last refugia, It comes to you that you can take a deep breath. We all being Snowdenized up in here and Maribified, and it's a Piper dream. It's a Keystone XL. It's a Line 61 pipeline in through Area 51. And there's a certain Roswell Rosetta Stone that's going to allow the alien architects, archaeologists, to figure out that we all went down together in that last 100 years between the harmonic convergence and the guided meditation of 2012, and the calendar, the Mayan calendar, that didn't turn out to predict that special thing that happened when Building 7 fell down, because it's fallen still on into itself. NSA 68. We live in the long emergency now. It's a prism to the future. Take a deep breath.